There has been strange and unusual sightings in Florida and South Carolina. People are going through electrical stimulation to become better at math, and a major warning has been announced for pets taking a certain treatment. In today's video, we're going to be reacting to some of the strange and more bizarre clips that I could find on TikTok. Let's get into it.
Is there an alien black market for human DNA? Let's talk about it. For decades now, many people have stated their story is that they've been abducted by aliens and they've had DNA taken from them. That is their story. They're allowed that story. Now, why would there be a black market for human DNA? I'll tell you why. It makes sense because Victoria Whitney is a whistleblower from the DOD. She was on Gaia in an episode talking about how there is a location off Earth in another planet that they're utilizing facilities to interchange the DNA. Why would aliens need DNA? Because every species needs to survive. And so they have to take and figure out a way to do that, taking human DNA from a healthy species and integrating it into their own dying species may allow them to survive. The ultimate goal of every species is to survive as long and as healthy as possible. And we're seeing that. So why would they need a black market for this? Maybe it's just a market, but she called it a black market. The market would be for species that don't want to subject their ships to come down, abduct the individual, take the DNA, and then have to be subjected to military action by our own military. They could simply buy it from one of these other groups that want to come down, grab the DNA, and shop it around up there. So do you think that this is possible? Maybe this is why we're having so many abductions, or there've been so many abduction reports. Have you had an abduction case? Do you think this is something that you've had experience with? Many individuals who have been abducted have stated that they've been shown their own DNA by the aliens themselves. There'll be code in the air, almost holographic, showing them that this is their DNA. This is why they're taking it. And they're sorry, but they need the DNA. What do you think? Put your comment in the comment section. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. Thoughts on yours, peace.
I mean, I guess if there was an extraterrestrial life form out there that was trying to do certain studies on prolonging their life, you would think that this super advanced species would be able to figure out what they need to figure out without needing to abduct more and more and more people over time. Maybe secretly aliens are actually vampires and they're just feeding off the blood of people and making people think that they're aliens. That is something I've never thought of before until now.
You are stuck inside a time loop, yeah, for real. This is flipping crazy and I cannot believe this is real, but it's got to be one of the worst things that could ever happen. I'm sure all of you at some point have had deja vu, some of you more than others. Sometimes you might go somewhere and think, I've been here before, or you live a day and you go, that feels like I've done those things before, it's weird. But imagine living with that every single day of your life, where you feel like the same day is cycling on repeat 24/7. Almost like the movie Happy Death Day, or Groundhog Day, or Palm Springs, where people are living in this same day that just keeps repeating. Well yeah, that is actually real. So it's known as persistent or frequent deja vu, where it just does not go away, and is often the symptom of something a lot more going on, like a severe type of epilepsy or something happening in the brain. And although normal deja vu, of course, is not a concern, it happens to all of us, if it keeps happening frequently, then it could be an issue. There is people living with prominent deja vu that just feel like they are living the same day non-stop and cannot get out of this cycle. Some people have it so severe that they genuinely think they are stuck in an endless time loop and there is nobody around them. There's not that much you can do about it. There is some psychotic help, but there's not. So how far would you put this up the list of the worst things that could ever happen to you?
I have actually never heard of this before, and that does sound pretty miserable. Basically, it's not living the same day, but it's as if you're experiencing deja vu all of the time. That feeling of, I've been through this exact moment before. I mean, when I experience deja vu, it's kind of cool to me because it's like, wow, my brain clicked all of this together and it made me feel like I've actually experienced this at one point in time. But to experience that all of the time has to be so confusing and disorienting.
Bad at math? Just get zippity zapped. Researchers recruited 72 university students, all right-handed, which I found amusing. They were split into 3 groups and wore electrodes on their head, kind of like this, which would send minor electrical signals to their brains. In one group, to zap this part, known for memory, focus, problem solving. Another group for this part, for spatial reasoning and attention. And a third group, which was a placebo, or did nothing. Those little zippy zaps are known as transcranial random noise stimulation, where oscillating random waves create this kind of white noise, like heavy metal in yoga. The students received 2.5 hours of this white noise stimulation and then did math problems for 5 days. They did find that electrical currents being sent to this part of the brain did improve math skills, but the real key was how well the 2 regions were connected. The idea is that when these areas have underperforming neurons, it affects your learning ability, and this electrical noise can bring those neurons to their activation threshold. People have actually been working on this idea for years. I found an article from 15 years ago and a recent one where they did it to professors, and they actually performed worse afterward, suggesting that this is really only beneficial for people with weaker learning abilities. There are products available on the market that claim to be able to do this sort of thing, but there's a lot of nuance to the human brain, and this isn't fully understood yet. But one day it probably will be available on Amazon.
Before she even showed that photo of that child wearing that head device, I was already thinking to myself that there is going to be certain parents that utilize this to help educate or to help develop their children further. I mean, I'll have to see where the studies go because it's interesting. It's kind of like doing electrotherapy for your muscles, but it's your brain. I don't think it's anything that I would like to go through, but I am interested in the overall progression of it and see where it goes. Hey, if you haven't done so already and you're enjoying the show, give it a like, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe. I upload a video like this every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 9 a.m. And on Wednesdays and Sundays, I upload reactionless compilations so that you can enjoy the videos yourself. And with that, I want to thank everyone for supporting the channel.
There's a handbook released in 1953, the year of Frank's death, called the CIA Study of Assassination. It's fascinating and I'll link it below. It describes that the best way to assassinate a target is to drop them from at least 75 feet onto a hard surface. The manual says when successfully executed, it causes little excitement and is only casually investigated. In fact, the Mossad, the Israeli intelligence organization, used Frank Olson's death as an example of a perfect murder due to the skill with which it was executed. Now, while there is still no official admission of guilt from the CIA, I think it's pretty obvious what happened. Frank Olson was one of only a few scientists who could confirm that the United States used chemical weapons in the Korean War. This is something that's still only alleged, but there's a lot of evidence it happened. Korean and Chinese soldiers were suddenly coming down with cases of cholera, meningitis, and even plague. It's possible Frank Olson was directly involved in deploying these illegal weapons.
So the Titanic conspiracy theory goes that on the day of the maiden voyage, the Titanic was never actually the Titanic, but was the Olympic. And White Star Line, which is the company that basically created all of these ships, wanted more insurance money because the Olympic was at the point of like complete turndown. They've tried to get insurance money for the ship multiple times, but did not get the correct amount they wanted. So what better ship to sink than the unsinkable ship, right? So with that being said, they go on this maiden voyage, and of course it sinks. With that being said, a fuck ton of money was made because it was supposed to be this unsinkable ship, right? The thing that really does not sit right with me, and the reason why I kind of believe that this is an actual thing that happened, is because a bunch of A-listers that were supposed to be on the maiden voyage decided last minute they didn't want to go. Why did they decide they not want to go? Obviously, everyone was so excited that the maiden voyage was happening, and plus if you're kind of a celebrity, a bigger person, you're gonna want to be on that maiden voyage. Like, that's just something that you're gonna want to do, right? So why did a lot of A-listers and celebrities decide last minute not to go? I don't know, doesn't sit right with me. Another thing that doesn't sit right with me was in 100 miles of where the boat hit the iceberg, there was an empty ship. Besides a crew, there was an empty ship. Why was there an empty ship 100 miles within where it sank? Weird, right? And it was big enough to house everybody on the Titanic. Yeah, Doesn't sit right with me. Very weird. And one of the last things is the day of the maiden voyage. Obviously, pictures were being taken. Everyone was so excited about it. It made the papers, all that stuff. Except for the fact that the ship wasn't really looking like Titanic. If you look closely, there are pictures of the Titanic while it's being made, and the portholes on the ship are circular. On the day that the Titanic goes on the maiden voyage, those porthole windows are like long, skinny, rectangular windows. And that's not just something that you can like easily change. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't know. It just like never sat right with me. And so here I am on my soapbox a million years later, still saying I think it was an inside job, because why the hell was an unsinkable ship sinkable? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm not going to agree with everything that this person is saying, but I do have my own theories about the Titanic. The media around it, the celebrities that were supposed to be boarding it, it was a lot of attention drawn to this ship. Almost so to bring in some very big important people, and to advertise a ship that's unsinkable while you have very important people on this ship, for it to sink in a way that should have been preventable. Let me know what you guys think about the Titanic, and if you have any of your own theories, conspiracies about the whole situation, let me know in the comments. I always enjoy a good Titanic conspiracy.
Phones are now officially banned in the UK, but there's a bit of a twist. Yeah, lads, if you're still in school, I feel sorry for you, but say goodbye to your phones, so make sure you share this video about. So we know there's been a lot of talk about banning phones in schools, and well, from this September, it is official, phones will become a prohibited item in most schools across the UK. Beforehand, you were either just allowed your phone or you'd have to hand it in the morning, but now you're not going to be allowed to bring it into school whatsoever. If you do, it will be confiscated and you won't be allowed to pick it up. Your parents will have to go into the school to collect it for you, so you don't want to be doing that. But there's a bit of a twist with it, because they recognise the safety importance of, well, you need your phone in case something happens at home or you need to contact somebody, right? They thought of that, which is why you're getting this. And I ain't joking. So many schools are now saying that brick phones are going to be allowed. Like, students will be allowed to still bring in brick phones that don't have the capacity of using social media and games and stuff. So if you have a good old Nokia brick or something like that, I mean, their sales are about to skyrocket. Some schools are also reportedly giving them away for free to the students, so that might be you as well. But from September, you won't be allowed your normal phones, but you might as well get one of these.
I do not really see the necessity of having a smartphone at school. I'm really surprised they even let them have those types of phones. I'm surprised they didn't just boil it down to a simple pager. Let me know what you guys think of this.
The Pentagon says this object, filmed over the Middle East in 2024, is just a foil balloon, with 95% certainty according to Arrow. A harmless party balloon caught drifting through highly secure military airspace. That's all. But this is interesting. That same object, almost identical, was seen about 30 years ago in Redfish, Florida. Back in 1993, this pod-like object was caught floating through the sky, still technically unidentified to this day. Check out this side-by-side. Same glide, same spherical kind of looking cylindrical shape. Interesting. Are these surveillance pods or just long-running series of coincidences? And there have been others like this. People have referred to this shape as the pod or the metapod, and some even call it La Bruja. NHI surveillance pods or just floating trash? What's your call?
On these particular videos, it's really too hard to tell, but I've seen plenty of UAP videos where it was definitely just a cluster of balloons floating by.
I'm looking all over TikTok, and I don't know why people aren't talking about this, but Japan has been rocking and rolling now for about 2 weeks with over 1,000 earthquakes, and it's literally shattering the roads, y'all. And there's a prophecy. Look at this. That has been happening for the past 2 weeks. Literally, rocks and everything has been falling out of the mountains. The roads are cracking open. But there's a prophecy that states on the 5th of July this year, something huge is supposed to happen to Japan. Now, they're either saying it's going to be a giant 9-point or above earthquake that shakes the sea floor and causes a tsunami, or something's gonna come out of the sky and take out Japan. But nonetheless, something's gonna happen.
The earth is rumbling beneath Japan, and it's not stopping. In the past 2 weeks alone, over 900 earthquakes have rattled on a remote island, is unleashing a storm of seismic fury that feels less like nature and more like a warning. The ground won't rest, and neither will the fear. The rumor originates from a 2022 Japanese comic book, The Future I Saw, which features a dream for seeing a tsunami and is also available in Chinese. The popular manga artist, known for eerily accurate past predictions, forewarned of a catastrophic disaster striking Japan in early July, specifically pinpointing July 5th. The fears of a megaquake have led to flight cancellations and reductions in service, affecting
But
tourism.
yeah, y'all, plenty people have left Japan. People are canceling their flights. People are hiding underground because they have no idea what's popping off. But y'all see that, man. The roads are cracking. I guess is what they mean by release the Kraken, because it's getting serious. But let me know what you guys think about this video. Like, follow, and share for more videos like this. The shift is here. Let's get it. Peace in.
I've never really experienced an earthquake, so I really do not know the devastation of them firsthand. But seeing them on the news, they look awful.
Imagine waking up and you see a bunch of alien symbols in front of you. Sounds crazy? Good story. Deep Prasad was working on a college paper when all of a sudden he sees 3 aliens around him, and he sees a bunch of hieroglyphic / Japanese symbols in front of him. That's his description. Now, these aliens were dressed in white with gold, with a little symbol that was reflecting and switching while he was looking at it. The important thing to the story is that they were showing him hieroglyphs and Japanese letters and flipping them as a hologram in front of him. He couldn't understand anything except for one word, DNA. Well, I guess that's 3 letters, DNA. And they showed it to him about 4 or 5 times throughout these multiple sentences and paragraphs they were showing. The important thing they were telling him was basically, we're here for DNA. Now, he knew that's what they were there for, but the weird thing was during this conversation with them, he was paralyzed, right? And he's looking forward. He can only look forward at these letters. If he turns away, they turned his head back slightly with a gentle vibration. Now, what's even weirder is that if he moved his head up, he could see that he was actually in a ship, even though he was in his house when he was encountering these beings. But if he shifted his head just slightly down, he would be back in his home. It was almost as if he was turning the frequency on a radio dial. Moving up, seeing the ship, moving it down, not seeing the ship, being back in his house. He said it was completely bizarre, and if he shifted his head up to see the ship, or to see being in the ship, he would get a massive headache. So it was in his best interest to really just look at what they wanted him to look at, which was the hieroglyphics and the information. Unfortunately, he didn't know what it meant, but he did see DNA. What are your thoughts? Have you ever read any stories like this? Have you been abducted and seen one of these type hieroglyphs with Japanese letters? I'd be curious to see what your story is. But anyway, put your comment in the comment section. Have you ever heard anything like that? What do you think it is? Like on your top.
This simulation took 15,000 years of CPU time to complete. What you're looking at here is a groundbreaking simulation by the Max Planck Institute, or Albert Einstein Institute, simulating what happens when 2 neutron stars merge in space. Not only is the simulation beautiful, I thought it was fake at first, it's beautifully detailed. The full evolution of merging neutron stars, the densest matter in the universe colliding, forming a black hole, throwing material off into space like gold, which can only be created this way, and shooting out jets into the cosmos of magnetism and energy, and it's so cool. Nerd. It all gets even more crazy when you look at the time scale here. All of this is happening in 1.5 seconds. 15,000 years of CPU time to simulate merging neutron stars down to the millisecond. Eat your heart out, Interstellar.
No! No!
Groundbreaking, first-of-a-kind simulations like this are important for scientists because it allows us to precisely simulate what happens in the cosmos, so that when we see those things in the cosmos, we can relate them to known laws of physics and things that we have seen before. It allows us to further explore unexplainable stuff that we see out there. And for neutron stars specifically, it's important to know because when they merge, they shoot out neutrinos and radiation and a bunch of other stuff. And so you need to know exactly how many signatures to look for when you're looking for neutron stars. But what do you think? Are you as blown away as I am by this simulation? Would you like to see two big balls merge together? Let me know in the comments below.
The amount of science that goes behind all of this goes way over my head, but it is really cool. I would really like someone to sit down and explain how the simulation is created. I probably would not understand a single word that the person is saying, but I would enjoy listening to it.
If you or anybody you know has a pet, watch this video right now. There's a major warning that's been issued across the UK and USA due to this new pet treatment that's been going viral. If you have any sort of pet, a cat or a dog, whatever, you've probably come across flea treatments before, like everybody has to do it. Of course, the majority of people get the flea treatment directly from the vets, it's recommended by them, they pick it up there, and there's not normally any issues. But there has been this fake one which has emerged online. For some reason people have been purchasing it from dodgy websites online, and well, it's very, very bad. This news broke out after a cat had to have emergency surgery after it had this flea treatment which nearly killed it. So the fake product going around is one of Frontline, so normally you can get the official one no problem, but the fake one is very bad, as I've said. The chemicals that are in the fake product can essentially overstimulate the animal and break down their nervous system, which of course is not good. Any terrible symptoms which can include vomiting, having seizures, and in some cases, death. It actually said that over 20% of people who bought this product knew that it was counterfeit, but still chose to buy it anyway because it was cheaper. Have issued this major warning, so make sure you only buy it from an official place or from your vets. And if it seems dodgy online or the price is too good, then don't risk it.
I would never buy my animal medicine from the internet. I would definitely go to a vet. And the simple fact that someone knew that it was counterfeit, I mean, it could have been just a fake story, but if someone knew that it was counterfeit, they just still purchased it because it was cheaper, I wouldn't have purchased it at all.
There's been some weird things happening in Florida, and I'm in Florida and I don't even know about this. Apparently there are some submarine ships off the coast of Myrtle Beach, right? There's a couple of them on the coast right there. And then not only that, but actually the Coast Guard, it seems that the Coast Guard might be out there looking for these two young boys that were actually lost in Myrtle Beach. Hold on.
I'll let y'all know there's some kind of underground water ship, whatever, right there. And there's 3 more right there.
And it looked like there was something else under there. But here's the ships out there. Both the police and the Coast Guard were out there pretty late because, again, the 2 boys got lost. I think they found one of the boys, but the other one is still missing, y'all. So much stuff is going on.
2 teenage boys were swept at sea today while swimming. One has been located. They're frantically looking for the other with police and helicopters. This happened tonight at North Myrtle Beach.
And then the other day, this was caught in Myrtle Beach. Y'all see that? Lightning is literally walking on the beach. Lightning is, look at the legs and look at the hands, y'all. What is going on here? There's so much activity happening. Our world is literally charged up with something else. You already know Florida is the lightning capital of the world, man. Y'all need to stay off the beaches because this is crazy. But yeah, so much going on in Florida, man. There is so much happening around the world, period, man. Did y'all know about this? Like, follow, share for more videos like this. Let's get this shift.
Again, I've talked about this before. That water is way too shallow for that to be submarines. I'm almost positive that that's schools of fish. And as far as the lightning photo, that's a really cool photo. That was a really good capture, but I don't believe that to be submarines. Let me know what you guys think.
Images of the largest molecule ever have been released, but builders of the largest temple on Earth may have done it first and hid it in these sneaky little nagas. This one's important. What you're looking at is a micro to macro, as above, so below geometry in action. This is called the trilobite molecule. The orbital pattern of electrons creates this shape, which you can also create using water in a speaker, which is also reflected in a physical organism this molecule is named after, the trilobite. It's 500 million years old. These latest images just came out in early June, but this pattern has been popular since antiquity, particularly in the East. Snakes, like the Naga, have been used to depict vibrations everywhere from Egypt to America to India and Cambodia. The same vibrational pattern can be seen on this big Naga. Just to drive this one home, that pattern on the belly of the Naga can be exactly duplicated with water on a speaker. Now, what those molecules could do in water is the crazy part. These things are absolute units. They are huge molecules and they're capable of detecting even the faintest electromagnetic fields. Hypothetically, what would happen if we put them in the structured liquid crystal form of water? Exclusion zone water could form a corral around these giant molecules, which would make each one of them a quantum bit in the largest quantum computer on Earth. A living quantum fluid. What could that do? We're talking subatomic cymatics. That could architect and entangle matter. Programmable molecular geometry that you could animate from anywhere. An organic device that would allow you to read and respond to a particular environment. I made a few videos analyzing the new LiDAR data for Encore. It showed its footprint is nearly identical to a CMOS sensor in a modern digital camera. The LiDAR data is even more accurate, but what it exposed was something I haven't talked about. A CMOS sensor contains a bunch of these micro lenses that convert light to electricity. That LiDAR scan revealed a bunch of very similar features, yet again. For a computer to work, you need a clock, a timing mechanism, which is exactly what Encore is. The equinox and solstices are both marked by the towers. It literally measures time. Temple's geometry is almost exactly a high-frequency oscillator used in digital timekeeping. Cambodian temples also have this unique interior design that almost exactly resembles a corrugated horn antenna. Antennas have to be aimed at something to send and receive signals. The entire Encore complex is aligned with the Draco constellation. These Nagas guard the bridge heading to the temple. Is there a better way of illustrating that connection? So is Encore actually a quantum anchor? Obviously, our quantum science is still in its infancy. This seems impossible. But I guess I made it my job now to connect consciousness, life, ancients, and sound. That link will take you to my latest work if you're interested. Or if out-of-the-box ideas get your panties in a knot, you can always say that's a stretch in the comments.
I'll always find it amazing that a lot of these structures look like microchips. The resemblance just can't be just a mere coincidence. There has to be more to it. I really do believe that there was probably something to the shapes and the structures of all of these places. It was almost like there was a purpose to their design. Hopefully though, we'll know one day. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and end today's video. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching these clips with me, and if it's a holiday that you celebrate, happy 4th of July. And with that being said, have a good day.